Sometimes, the moments that change our lives forever don't arrive with fire or thunder. They creep in quietly, almost invisibly, dressed in silence and shadows. It can be as simple as a glance you weren't expecting, a stare that lingers just a second too long, and before you realize it, your entire world has shifted. Hello, everyone. Before I open this door and share what happened, I need to pause and thank every single one of you who comes here to listen. Your comments, your messages, your support, it means more than you know. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, because the stories I tell are meant to reach inside your chest, to stir something deep, to make you feel everything you thought you'd forgotten. Love, pain, betrayal, and those haunting what-if moments. Tonight's story is one of those moments. It was a warm summer afternoon, the kind that wraps around you like a heavy blanket. The curtains were drawn halfway, sunlight dripping through in broken golden beams. Outside, the cicadas buzzed lazily, their endless drone making the whole world feel half asleep. I was curled up on the couch, a soft throw pulled over me, some old romantic movie flickering across the television. The kind of film where love is pure and simple, where obstacles melt away in the end, where happy endings are promised like they're a birthright. But real life doesn't work that way. I wasn't thinking about that, though. I was just letting the screen pull me in, letting the stillness of the house swallow me whole. Until my breath caught. I hadn't even noticed him enter the room. He was just there, standing near the hallway, still and quiet, as though the shadows themselves had invited him in. It was my son's friend, the boy who had been staying with us for the summer. Only in that instant, I realized something I had refused to see before. He wasn't a boy anymore. He was 20. Broad shoulders, arms taut with the kind of restless energy youth carries. His jaw was set, his posture unsure yet strangely commanding. And his eyes, God, his eyes were locked on me. Not casually, not politely, not the kind of glance you toss to someone's mother while saying hello. It was different, too sharp, too intense. I froze. Part of me wanted to laugh it off, to break the silence, to remind myself that this was ridiculous. Another part of me wanted to scold him, to snap and tell him to look away. But neither of those voices won. Instead, with a nervous smile tugging at my lips, I heard myself say, "If you want something, just ask." The words came out sharper than I meant them, like a blade trying to defend me from the sudden heat blooming in my chest. He startled, like a child caught stealing candy. His face flushed, and without a word, he stepped past me, quick, almost clumsy, as if fleeing from his own thoughts. I sat frozen on the couch, staring at the glowing TV, but not seeing a single thing. My heart was pounding, betraying me. And in that trembling silence, I knew something had shifted. A door had opened. And even if I wanted to slam it shut, the air between us would never be the same again. Half an hour passed. I tried to convince myself I had imagined it, that maybe I read too much into a harmless look. But then I heard them. Footsteps, slower this time, heavier. I turned, and there he was again. He wasn't hiding behind a nervous smile now. His hands trembled at his sides, his face pale, but set with some kind of desperate determination. I can't hold it anymore, he whispered. His voice cracked, like it had been carrying a weight. Too heavy for too long. My breath hitched. I gripped the blanket around me tighter, my mind screaming to shut this down before it could go any further. I can't stop thinking about you, he said, his eyes locked on mine with a rawness that stripped me bare. The air felt thicker, as though the room itself was closing in around us. Morality, loyalty, danger, all of it flashed through me in chaotic bursts. And yet, beneath all of it, there was something else, something nameless, something terrifying, something that thrilled me in a way I didn't dare admit. He took a step closer. I should have stood, should have raised my voice, should have ended it. But I didn't move. I couldn't. My body betrayed me, frozen between fear and anticipation. The silence between us was alive, sparking, humming with unspoken truths. I could hear my own heartbeat, loud, frantic, betraying me. "Say something," he begged, his voice low, trembling, as though the weight of rejection might crush him completely. My lips parted, but no words came out. Only silence. And silence, I would learn, can be more dangerous than a yes. He moved closer, too close. Close enough that I could feel the heat radiating from him. Close enough that the air between us was no longer safe. And I still didn't stop him. When his hand brushed mine, a shiver shot through me so violently I nearly gasped. I should have pulled away, but instead, my fingers curled ever so slightly, holding him there. It was wrong. It was dangerous. It was everything I should have rejected. But it was also the most alive I had felt in years. He leaned down. His lips brushed mine, feather light, testing, questioning. I should have pulled back, but my eyes closed instead. The world outside could have burned away in that instant, and I wouldn't have noticed. All that existed was that kiss. Hesitant at first, then hungry, then consuming. It felt like drowning and breathing all at once. Like fire in my veins, like stepping willingly into a storm I knew could destroy me. And in that chaos, I forgot myself, forgot my son in the next room, forgot the weight of what this meant. All I knew was the heat of his mouth, the strength of his hands, the desperate way he clung to me, like I was the only thing keeping him alive. Minutes passed like lifetimes. And when we finally pulled apart, gasping, trembling, the silence was louder than any thunderstorm. I stared at him, wide-eyed, chest heaving, my lips tingling with guilt and fire. His eyes searched mine, desperate for an answer I couldn't give. And then I whispered the one truth that shattered everything. This can't happen again. But we both knew it was a lie, because once a door is opened, it can never truly be closed. And ours had been kicked wide open. The days that followed blurred into one another. I tried to keep busy, cooking, cleaning, pretending nothing had changed. But every time I caught his eyes across the room, the world tilted. It was like living with a secret, too sharp to swallow, too dangerous to confess. My son laughed with him, played games with him, trusted him. And all the while, I carried the weight of what we had done. Every brush of his arm when we passed in the hallway, every glance that lingered too long, it was enough to set my skin on fire. And yet, I told myself it was nothing. I told myself it would fade. I told myself lies I needed to survive. But lies have a way of growing, of wrapping around you like vines, pulling tighter and tighter until you can't breathe. One night, when the house was quiet, when the world outside had gone still, I heard it, my door creaking open. I should have told him to leave, should have shouted, but instead, I sat up, waiting. He stepped inside, silent as a ghost. And for a long moment, neither of us moved. The only sound was the frantic beating of my heart. When he finally crossed the room, when his hand touched mine again, I didn't pull away. I couldn't. What happened that night? I can't dress it in pretty words. It was raw, desperate, a collision of loneliness and hunger and reckless abandon. And when it was over, I lay there staring at the ceiling, my chest tight, my body trembling, my mind screaming. I'm sorry, I can't assist with that request. After that night, everything was different. Every glance, every word, every stolen second carried a dangerous weight. I found myself listening for his footsteps, craving them, dreading them. My life became a battlefield between want and shame. And still, I didn't stop him. I didn't stop us. Nights blurred into more nights. Whispers into touches. Touches into things I swore I would never allow. It was intoxicating. It was poison. It was both. But every high has a crash. And ours came faster than I could have imagined. One evening, as laughter filled the living room, as my son sat joking with him like nothing was wrong, I realized I couldn't breathe. I excused myself, retreating to the kitchen. My chest was tight. My hands shook. The truth was clawing its way out of me, and I didn't know how much longer I could hide it. And then, his shadow appeared in the doorway. Our eyes met. And in that moment, I knew. Secrets don't stay buried forever. And ours was about to surface. I whispered, "We have to stop." My voice cracked. My body betrayed me, trembling with both fear and longing. He shook his head, stepped closer, his voice steady this time. "I don't care. I can't let you go." My knees buckled, because as much as I wanted to deny it, a part of me didn't want him to let go either. And in that terrifying, electrifying moment, I realized the truth. This wasn't a chapter I could close. This was a story that had already written me into it, whether I liked it or not. I could barely breathe, not from his touch, not from his words, but from the weight of what was coming, because nothing stays hidden forever. And when the truth comes out, it doesn't knock politely. It tears through the door like a storm. My story isn't about romance. It isn't about happy endings. It's about choices and the scars they leave behind. And if you take anything from this, let it be this. Desire can feel like oxygen, but sometimes it's the very thing that suffocates you. I couldn't breathe, but he didn't stop. And now I live with the memory of a storm I helped create.